broadly the economy and how the economy has been funded and the resources towards the economy, how they have been distributed. When you look at the theme of this National Budget Framework paper, just to remind you, it talks about full monetization of the Ugandan economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access. Again, when you look at the budget framework paper, it's in agreement with the overall East African Community agenda of accelerating economic recovery and enhancing productive sectors for improved livelihoods. So when you read the theme of the National Budget Framework paper, the issue of the economy is at the center. And when you look at the challenges we are facing, you know, the challenges faced by the economy, right from the COVID pandemic, then the Ebola pandemic, the Ukraine war, our economy has been battered. And that's related also to why our country is becoming more and more indebted, because the ends are not meeting. So for me, I think it's really important to look at how we organize our economy and how much the resources we are putting in the economy. When you look at the budget framework paper, the program areas where you find the economy is private sector development, agro-industrialization, and manufacturing. Those are the three areas. And we commend government that under private sector development, government has really tried to enhance the competitiveness of our private sector. And in this budget, they are proposing to increase it from 1.6 trillion to 1.7 trillion. However, there are areas which we think government should really address if we are to recover, if our economy is to recover. One, my sister here, Mariam, has talked about UNBS. You can't trade without UNBS, without standards. According to a number of papers, 54% of the products, Ugandan products on the market, are substandard. Yet, the cost of certification is really high, at 1 million per parameter, or 500,000 for the MSMEs. We also see that the UNBS is understaffed, and in fact, some border posts don't have a presence of UNBS. Our trade with outsiders, with Kenya, with Europe, most of our products have been rejected because of poor standards. You are all aware of our maize, which have aflatoxins, very high levels of aflatoxins. So we are asking government to reconsider to put more resources in UNBS. It goes also to the Uganda Export Promotion Board. When you look at our exports, we are running a trade deficit every year. A trade deficit is where you import more than you are exporting. You know, we need to reorganize to do better when it comes to our exports. And the Uganda Export Promotion Board is key to ensuring that our exports go out to there and they are also competitive. When you look at how much has been given to the Uganda Export Promotion Board, again, the resources are very limited. Another area which we have realized in the National Budget Framework paper is the area around trade negotiations. Markets are negotiated, and there are ongoing negotiations where we need to be as a country to protect and to promote our interests. These include the Continental Free Trade Area. The negotiations are still going on in key areas like investment, e-commerce, all those issues around the digital economy. We need to be there to promote our interests. There are also negotiations around under the World Trade Organizations. Again, we need to be there. We didn't see any money around trade negotiations. In fact, the practice has been that sometimes the people we negotiate with are the people who fund us. And we say no, Uganda should have its own resources to be able to negotiate. Another area which we have broadly looked at is the area of tourism. Tourism is one of those productive sectors, and we get a lot of resources from tourism. But we have seen that the tourist budget has been cut from 21.1 billion to just 7.1 billion. And we have had people from the tourist sector saying that the game rangers have to go. They can't even pay for the foods feed the animals at Entebbe, at the center. So again, we need to put resources there. Broadly, when you look at how the National Budget Framework paper has organized the programs of the agro-industrialization and the private sector development and manufacturing, there is a lot of overlaps and duplication. I just want to give you an example. When you look at the private sector development program, it's headed by Ministry of Finance, but almost 90% of the activities are purely trade. They are trade. And what we are requesting that this should be organized so that the Ministry of Finance looks at financial issues and they leave trade to address the trade issues. And by the way, when you look at the entire budget for the Ministry of Trade, it's just 46 billion. 46 billion. And this is a sector where we are saying we are looking at recovering, economic recovery, just 46 billion. And that 46 billion is divided. Some money is under private sector development in Ministry of Finance. Some money is under agro-industrialization and agriculture. We can't run this country like that. We need to rejuvenate our economy. And the key ministry is the Ministry of Trade and Industry.
Well, according to Jen Nalunga, you realize the private sector has been enhanced through fundings, and there's been a relative increase from 1.6 to 1.7 trillion Ugandan shillings. And of course, it has to be among the top priorities, reason being the private sector does employ quite a number of Ugandans in it. And of course, on the other hand of the trade, there's still other issues with other countries due to substandard products that we export out of the country. So amidst the fact that we are heading into a new financial year, these are some of the key loopholes that we need to cover up according to the private sector players within the economy. Then also when you look at the situation regarding the budget framework paper and how the private sector has been funded, especially when it comes to the next financial year, I did mention here that there is an increment from 1.6 to 1.7 trillion. Then if you're to look at the issues to do with the budget committee, amongst the other key issues, of course, is that as for now, the committee is still going through the different budget allocations to at least come up with the final budget for the financial year 2022-2023. And of course, the country is actually still having different trends from the world of business regarding the fact that as of yesterday, the state minister in charge of housing, that is Honorable Pasis Namuganza, was censored out of parliament, was censored out of office, not parliament. She's just a minister. So she was censored out of parliament with a vote of no confidence from the majority of the members of parliament. Now, besides that kind of situation, you get to realize there is a lot coming in from there regarding the censor of the minister. Not only that, also just recently here, among the other issues that were making some huge headlines includes the NSSF, which we are yet to at least come to a complete compromise of it. Then also, on the other hand, even today in our social media trends, you get to realize we shall be talking about the Entebbe International Airport. There are some new guidelines that have been set up for the employees in there to check on how their effectiveness is affecting their duties and how things are running by at the international airport in Uganda, but also looking at some of the other various trends within the country from the world of business. Also, just to let you know that the issue to do with the Kosase saga is still ongoing. So you should be very vigilant by understanding that. But as I'm bringing you more of these updates, let's get into the press review to see what the print media has got to say in regards to the same matters. And now with the press review, we start with the New Vision as the big headline here is President Museveni is set to decide on the fate of Pasis Namuganza, who has been censored, how the MPs voted, the votes of those who apparently voted her out, with only 5 believing she can still be in office, and then only 3 of those abstained from the vote. Reason, lots of things coming in here, so you can get more of that in this particular New Vision today. Then there's a report regarding fraud. Lands Minister wants State House to probe her staff. Why is that so? Still with the New Vision. President Museveni speaks out, and President Museveni and the Speaker of Parliament have committed 350 million shillings for the Hoima Hospital. And of course, how will this be very vital and helpful? What is the state of the hospital? More of that is with the New Vision this particular morning. And then furthermore, with the press review in the Prosper magazine and the Daily Monitor, the budget cuts are raising questions over government priorities. I did mention here that there is at least a slight increment when it comes to the private sector allocation from 1.6 to 1.7. But however, there is something regarding budget cuts that is actually becoming a very huge concern for most of the sector players within Uganda's economy. Now, also, on the other hand, is the Daily Monitor highlighting how Minister Pasis Namuganza talked her way into the trouble that she is currently facing. There's a pictorial showing the Right Honourable Speaker to Parliament, there's Right Honourable Anita Anamong, and then also showing the minister in here, according to the Daily Monitor, giving you more of the ideas. Now, when it comes to the regional report, over 50 chief administrative officers have been interdicted over corruption. This is according to the Inspectorate of Government. That is according to the IGG's report coming in this particular morning. Then also, basically speaking of that, lodgers and charcoal dealers have been given an ultimatum. Why is that? Which kind of ultimatum is that? Is also coming in this particular morning. Then also, Uganda starts fast oil drilling. Another report coming in here from the Daily Monitor that you will definitely choose to have more of that. And of course, you get to realize that there's a lot of business coming in from there. And also, the other question is what next for the Uganda cranes in regards to the side of the sports here. What next for the Uganda cranes after a 2 billion Ugandan shillings was actually allocated to the cranes to prepare them for a tournament, which they did not last for more than 2 weeks. So the question is, where is the other money going to? And of course, what next for the top office of the Uganda Cranes Managerial? So that and more is in these particular papers this particular morning. And now, besides that, we have Berija Andrew on standby for the traffic updates, and that is where we are definitely switching our eyes to see what is happening in Kampala and how can you get ready as you're coming in for, especially those people who are actually coming in from Bukoto, Dinda. How is the road so far? So let's head to the traffic updates with Berija Andrew.
Thank you very much, Joram. And today we are right here at the Wanagea traffic lights, the Wanagea junction, of course, observing the traffic atmosphere just right here. And probably the general observation could be like it's a little congested. And of course, most especially to those people that are staying in the different places that connect to this particular route. Now, firstly, let me start on my left-hand side. That's on Bombo Road. Yeah, that's now for those people that are coming from Waise and probably Kalere Waise, and you're planning to connect via this particular junction. Yeah, I'll say the traffic is a little congested. So probably if you're heading to town and you're coming right here, there could be possible other best alternatives, despite the fact that you can see the vehicles being released at those intervals, probably 5 to 6 minutes intervals. It's not really very prolonged as such. They're being held right there, and there are very, very many. You know, there are scenarios where we have vehicles held into the jam, but they are not really congested in, of course, some sort of a heavy line. So I would suggest that you could probably use another alternative. That is, if you're really what you're going to pursue is very, very urgent, so it would be very appropriate to really probably find another alternative from that particular aspect. Now, heading straight on this side, this other side where I'm facing, we're looking at, of course, for those that are coming from Mulago, Kamocha, and could be even Tinda, and you're passing via that Mulago roundabout, chances are high that okay, it's not that much congested. Kamocha a little bit very, 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 very sad to get there. So at that particular aspect, you will be in position to reach in time. If you can observe the vehicles being released at the different intervals, it's a little bit quite very, very fine. See, it's quite an empty lane. Yeah, so for those that are coming to town to execute certain business objective, it's very okay. You will be in position to reach in time, except for those people that we saw on Bombo Road. It's a little bit it's a different case. Yeah, now away from this lane, let's stretch straight, of course, heading to town. From Kamocha heading to town, you see it's quite a smooth lane, as you can observe right there. It's a little bit smooth. Unlike ahead right there, of course, there is a little bit of a congestion. heading to Kampala on this from Wandegea roundabout. Ahead, just right there ahead, there is a little congestion. However, you may come all this way, very clean slate, but by the time you reach somewhere there, so still probably, if there could be another alternative, now for this case, you could actually pass via the Mulago roundabout, you connect to Kololo, connect to Ginger Road, and actually Ginger traffic lights rather, then you connect to Kampala Road. Yes, you'll be in position to reach in time. Here ahead there, it's a little congested as you continue moving just away from this particular lane. Now crossing over to Makerere Road, just up there, away from that, I can see it's a little bit clean. So for those of you that are coming from areas like Nakulabye, you know, you stay around the Sir Apollo Road areas, it's a little bit friendly for you. Unlike at the Makere main gate, at the very extreme, as you can observe right there. Of course, here the vehicles seem to be moving very smoothly, but all the way from Makere at the main gate, the traffic lights there, they are holding the vehicles quite very. So chances are high that you will encounter two stopovers on the Makere main gate and also the junction of the Wandegea. So I would still advise for those of you that are staying in Nakulabye and you're planning to use this particular junction, you could probably find another alternative if you are to reach in the time you really desire to reach into. So you get to understand how very heavy the traffic is right here, slightly, so you can make the appropriate decisions right there. If I'm to observe the intervals still on that lane, now you can see over some of the vehicles have been held off the main gate traffic lights, but now they come back here to experience another stopover. So what does that mean? So that means there is going to be a delay. So there could be better alternatives. You could probably pass via the road towards Ham, sloping down. You connect to Chiseka, then you will be in town, unlike using this particular junction, which is a little bit held a little bit. You know, of course, the traffic is being controlled by the lights. They're in full control, despite the fact that the traffic controllers are also available, of course, trying to observe those that are not following the appropriate rules in terms of the traffic. So that's the condition just right here as you can observe it. The traffic atmosphere, probably you've woken up, you're planning to use this particular junction on those areas that I've mentioned. You probably come from Tinda, Kamocha, Bwaise, Kaleri, and of course, a majority, it always connects all around here. It's a little congested, so probably there could be some other best alternatives that you can employ to ensure that we can reach in time and explore those business activities that you should explore. Looking away back there still, the vehicles are just from Bombo Road, just being held for just about 6 minutes. And now they're just heading to town. And like I told you, beneath there is still another congestion holding the vehicles right there. And that means that there would be a little bit of a delay. Unlike other days, today's been a little bit unique regarding that. Probably it's because schools are about to open. That can also be a contributing factor in that regard. So there is a heavy congestion that is, of course, rising up slowly on the different junctions of Kampala. And yeah, we get to know that, you know, we need to plan accordingly. The times we leave home, yeah, it's a little congested right here. And that's it for the traffic updates this morning. We've been just right here at the Wandegea Junction. The overall situation, it's a little congested. Back to studio with Joram.
Yeah, that is around the Wandegea traffic lights, and of course giving you more of the highlights regarding how the flow of traffic is at the moment and how best you can move if you're actually heading to town or moving out of town this particular morning. Well, after the break, I'll be getting back with Karibu East Africa and the latest from the international news. And also just quickly remember to use the USSD code *292# if you want to invest in government bonds, as Zabu is giving you that.
No
advantage.
data.
So
no.
The hashtag is my money, my future, definitely, because if you want to grow your investments, you can invest in government bonds. Use just a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings and see your money grow into something bigger. Zabu is a platform by Altex East Africa which says do something new. Now, what can you do today invest in government bonds. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. They only fully close during the weekends and over the weekends. Sabu, my money, my future. Get your investment journey started today. I will be returning with Karibu East Africa and the S&B International News this morning. Stick around.